fucking
with you.
barbarian.
All right. Hola Comadres. Welcome to another episode of Comadreando podcast. I'm your host, Marcy. And today we have an amazing guest, Alexandra Cloud. I will let her introduce herself. Who are you?
Hi. Hi, Marcy. Hi, everyone. Hi, comadres. Hi, compadres. Hi, everybody. I'm Alexandra. I'm also known as Spiritual Cloud. And what else you want to know a little bit about me?
What are all the hats you wear?
What?
What are all the hats you wear?
What are all the hats? All the hats my husband bought me and created for me. I'm kidding. I wear many hats. I consider myself at this point in my life a spiritual being who's just learning and growing, discovering more things about myself. My background and passion comes from acting, dancing, and singing. That's like my love and passion. And then I branched off into acting and working behind the scenes, producing, directing, writing, and from there on, I got married. I became a mom. Wanting to become a mother came before getting married, and
Yeah.
when I got pregnant, I chose to put my acting on the side, although I was still being creative, but focusing on that first year with my daughter
Mm-hmm.
and being a mother and everything that comes along with it. And it was one of the, like I tell people, it was like one of the goals I had that came to me at 40 because I didn't have that goal. And it's the most challenging and beautiful gift that I've received to be a mom.
Oh, you're such a
Yeah.
good mom.
So it has enhanced my creativity and my life.
Yeah. It always happens. So,
Hmm.
thank you for being on the show. I've been trying
Thank
to
you
get
for
her on
having me.
Comadres, yeah, for a while.
I'm so
So we
excited.
connected via her husband, Rick, who was a guest on
Yeah.
the show before. And basically, looking into her and then like all the things that she does, like I feel like we're birds of a feather because we're both todólogas. Like you have your hand in everything. You do a little bit of everything. You're creative, and on top of that, you're like producing your own show and everything. And also, she didn't say, but she's half of the Wind and Cloud
That's right.
podcast.
So that's why it's so many things.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
So
on the other half
so
of the Winning Cloud podcast. That's right.
yeah. So that's how we
And Dad
connected.
Repeat.
Yeah. Which is an amazing. I'm gonna put the link in the show notes, but it's an amazing
Okay.
web series. So today's topic, comadre, is imposed social behaviors in communities of color. Yes, it does sound like an essay topic for a master's thesis or something. But the reason why the
Definitely.
topic came up is because a little while back I had posted an outing that I had gone with my mom with Aiden to it was
Oh,
like
that's right.
it was a restaurant, and I'm recording and I'm like baila baila, right, and I'm
Yeah, yeah,
encouraging him
yeah.
to dance, right. So my friend hit
Yeah.
me up and she was like, oh my god, you're such a Dominican mom. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you kept prompting him to dance, "Y obligado, coño," and I'm like, no, but I don't
That's
know,
what
like
we
what do you
do.
want. That's what we do, right? So that made me think of all the imposed like social behaviors and the social norms that
Oh,
we as kids, because you're Dominican as well, that we grew up with, and that was like normalized, right? And what are the pros and cons to that? Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, we were forced to do these social behaviors, but I feel like we're better human beings for it, or we're like able to navigate in like social situations in a better way because of it. So yeah, so we already talked about your ethnicity. You're Dominican, but can you go a little bit more deeply into that? Are you first generation? Were you born
first.
you were born here?
I was born I was born in New York, and in the
Okay.
apartment actually, and yeah, first generation. My mom and dad came from the Dominican Republic, from a small
Okay.
campo called Genimo in San Francisco de
Ooh.
Macorís. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're not far from each other. I'm from La Vega. I'm from a
Oh,
small
okay.
campo.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
actually born there, and
Oh,
I came here with
nice.
my mom when I was like one and change. But I feel like
Oh,
I
so you
grew
were very
up.
young.
Yeah, I grew up here. And you grew up
Mm-hmm.
here the whole time. Did you go back
Yes.
or anything like that?
I didn't go back. Well, according to my mom, I went back when I was a baby when her brother died. And of course, I
Hmm.
don't remember that. And then when I graduated high school, I saved up because I come from a family of 5 kids. So it's not like we were on vacation every week, every year. So I
Yeah.
saved up and I was like, I want to go to DR. I want to meet my grandparents in person. So that's what I'm going to do for myself to treat myself for graduating. And I went in 2000. I was older, much older, and that's when I physically met my grandmother and my grandfather, like all my aunts and uncles and cousins that I hadn't met, that hadn't come to the States. And that was a great experience because that year my grandfather passed away like a few months later, and I kind of felt
Oh.
it because we had a moment alone in the galeria, in the front, and it was like we were bonding in silence, having like small
Mm.
conversations, but it was quiet. But I felt like that was what I needed with him. And then I was like, when I went back, I was like, I have a feeling like this is the last time I'm gonna see him, and that's exactly what happened.
Wow. So how was
Yeah.
that experience? Was it culture shock to like be in DR for that amount of time? After growing up
Um,
here.
I wouldn't call it culture shock. And the reason why I say that is because I grew up as if it was DR in a way because my parents had chickens in the like my father had gallinas in the freaking bathroom.
Stop.
Girl, girl. I will open the bathroom sometimes and the smell
I'm
and I'm
dead.
like, "What the?"
Oh
But I just
my
remember as a little girl like, "Oh my god, it stinks." And I go and I see freaking gallinas in the fucking bathtub. We had a
So he
clawfoot
was just raising
bathtub.
his own chicken.
So
Wow.
I was like, this is the campo, but in an apartment. And then eventually, I tell this story to people, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." So then eventually, one of the roosters became like our pet. Like he was there for a while with us, and I grew like I started like
Oh
loving
my
this rooster
goodness.
as my pet,
Of
and he would
course.
follow my
Hmm.
brother. My brother would be in the walker. He was very young at that time, and he would run around and like jump on my mom's fly on my mom's head. Then on one day, all of a sudden, I was like, "Where's Kiki?" And they were going on a trip somewhere. I forgot it was
Oh
Connecticut,
my
New Jersey. And
god.
I was like, "You ate him." So I do not like gallina because of that. Because they freaking ate my rooster. I like
Oh
when you
my
see the
god.
clawfoot, I'm like, no, no, no. I'm
No.
traumatized.
Oh my god.
They
No,
were
no,
like,
no.
no, and I'm like, you guys took him, and that's what you ate for the meal. Oh,
Oh
I was so
my
mad. I was
god.
so mad.
Why
Yeah,
was that a thing? Like my dad got us a chick, a baby, because we they didn't want to have a dog. So they
yeah.
got us a baby chick, and we were his name was Puri. So we had Puri, like my mom was pregnant, and we had the baby chick, and he was growing. He was a boy, and he started getting older. And then once my little brother was born, he was okay, but then like he got
Yeah.
to like that teenage chicken age, and he was
Age,
like trying
yeah.
to peck at my brother. So we gave him to
Yeah.
the super. The super had him down there because he had una cría de pollo. Like he had a
Oh,
bunch of chicken.
wow.
It
Tu
had to be
ve,
at
tu
least a
ve.
dozen. It had to be like at least a dozen, right? So we used to go visit Puri, and then one day we went to visit, and there was no more
And Puri
chickens
was
down
dead. Tenía un sancocho de gallina ahí ready.
I hate, oh my god, I couldn't stand that man. He had a big belly too, and I used to be like,
Oh,
ese perro se comió
se
mi pollo.
comió Puri. So yeah, like they had parties
Oh
in my
my
house. There was
god.
constantly people there. Like it was like I was embraced with that culture. Like I grew up with that culture. I grew up speaking Spanish first. I didn't speak
Yeah,
English. So
same
it
here.
was like when I went to DR, maybe the culture shock was like going to the campo and dealing with the bugs, no AC. I would say that, like
And no
that aspect.
electricity también, right?
No electric. Oh, la luz que se te iba. I was like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
no freaking light. But then I loved like my. I went to the resorts and everything, but I will always say that my favorite times were in the campo, despite the
Yeah,
fact that we didn't have AC. Se fue la luz. it was just the feeling of like the humility, the love that that everybody there has, a community. It was just beautiful. It was so
I agree.
beautiful to experience that. Yeah.
And I want to say something about the humility. Like what you're saying is like, people, it doesn't matter how little they have. They're so like grateful for you visiting them, and they'll go and take you like their last platano or whatever.
Yeah.
There was
Mira,
one
I
thing
get
they were like,
goosebumps. That's like,
yeah,
it's
like
beautiful.
they would warn us though, because they knew we didn't know any better, so we would just go visit people because we were on vacation, and they're like, oh, no salga, don't go out at 12 to visit anybody, right? Because
Mm,
but the thing is, the logic behind that was that these people are eating. We don't know what they're eating. And if you
that's
go as a
true.
visitor, they're gonna want to give you their food, and that might be the
Yeah,
only meal
yeah.
they have for the day. So they would
That's
always like,
true.
they
Yeah.
had all these little imposed social norms that I didn't know about here, because like we don't
Mm,
really visit people here like that, but over there is very different. But that was that's
yeah.
it, very interesting. Um,
Yeah.
so you said that you guys used to entertain a lot. Was there like a lot of social events, like every weekend or every month? You guys had something to do,
Oh,
or
yeah. Oh my God, there were always social. Like the Yankees had a game, there was a party. Somebody's birthday, there was a part. Like there was always a party, celebration, or like my dad with my uncle and his friends. They would. I could swear they had a band. Like he had a guitarra. He was like a DJ. He had the whole entertainment system set up with the albums and the vinyls. He had the eight, was it 8 tracks? Remember the eight tracks?
yeah, yeah,
They would
yeah.
record songs and make up songs. It was like
Oh my
a
goodness!
party
Hold on,
all the
hold on.
time.
Hola Comadres. At that moment, Aiden decided to pop in to drop some laundry off, and he was in underwear.
He
Make it
was
short.
like, I'm on bye. That was funny.
I'm dead.
I'm gonna jump in my mom's bed and I'm out.
No, he went to
I
he went
love
to
it.
put a shirt in the hamper, so he came and like dropped it
Oh,
off. But when I like, this is the
at
deal,
first
right?
I
I
thought he
have
was
the
naked, and I was like, espérate.
No, he had no shirt.
Because
Like, he had no
I
shirt
know he
on, but
had
he
no
had
shirt.
shorts. Pero
Yeah, yeah,
que
yeah.
like the if the rule is like you have to be quiet like a ghost, and then you get soda when mommy finishes the show.
That's
But
the guy.
clearly today,
You're not getting soda today, Aiden.
I'm done.
No
No, but your
Coca-Cola
family
for
was
you.
lit though, so you guys had like la
They were lit.
huira, el
My
acordeon, all the
family,
stuff.
no, it was party time. And then as I grew up, like people who would come over, we would celebrate. We knew them. It's your birthday tomorrow? Okay, vamos a un bicocho.
Oh
Like
my
that's how it
gosh,
was. That's how it was all the time. And I find that it was fun. I was a shy little girl. So
hmm
like as a kid, I remember being involved, like dancing and stuff. But then as I got a little older, I would hide myself in the room, and everybody would be partying and I'll be in the room in my own world. And then when I became a teenager is when I started coming out.
hmm No, but what did they used to do? Like kind of like, oh, los muchachos se quedan in the kids will stay in the room, and then the
Yeah,
adults are in the living room, and then like the teenagers were doing their own thing somewhere else.
that's how it
That's
was.
funny.
And also, like when the music would go on and people were dancing, everybody was together because we would also
Ah, okay.
dance too. And we would do the conga. I remember the conga line for my brother's like first birthday. Of course, the first birthdays, of course, es para
No,
los
of course
adultos.
it's for the adults. It's not for the kids. The
When my
kids
daughter turned
can
around, I was like,
party.
oh, hell no, I'm not doing this. Pero yeah, we would get involved, but everybody would be in their own world.
That's so funny.
And then, of course, the
No, we
liquor and all this. So as I got older, there were certain things that I was just like, oh no, I don't want to do that in front of my daughter. The imposing of like,
I felt like they were.
no,
Go ahead.
like I would say like drinking alcohol. You know what I mean? Like I know it's a custom in our culture. Desde que tú naces, te tiran un wiki. Tú ves.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, and for me, that's my opinion, I don't want my daughter to be around that because
No.
then she's going to think it's okay. And I want to be the one to teach her. I'm her example, I'm her teacher. So if she's going to be like, oh, mom, I'm going to go, then, well, you do it. You know what I mean? That's going to be her answer.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. to be an example for her. So I was just like, no, I don't want to drink around my daughter. I want to be aware. I want to be focused. And for your birthday, I want to honor you. You're not going to remember that. I'm not going to throw a party of adults and then you're there and you go to sleep or you're angry and cranky. So, like, for me, I was just like, no, there's things I need to change. I
Yeah,
do love that
definitely.
family gets together, but there's certain things that I'm like, no.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, it was very similar. Like, we would all get together. We were actually part of an association that we were all from the same town. So in this association, era como un gremio. It was like a susu. I don't know what you call
Is that
it,
the one
but
where you put money in and
we
every
used to
month
pay
somebody gets?
membership fees. No, but the thing is, it
Yeah.
was membership fees, but it wasn't like for a numero. It was like membership fees.
Oh.
And if somebody passed away from your family that is part of the association, they would help you with burial expenses. So we were part of this club. No, it was a long time nobody died, right? So we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
part of
yeah.
this association. So we would get together every week, every month. We would get together in somebody's house, right? That person will host us. We would have a big party. It would be music. They would have a little like a reunion and like go over like the charter and like talk about different stuff. And then they would like do prayers and stuff because it was like religious as well. And then like after that, then it would be the party, right? Everybody would be getting together. All the kids were in the rooms, like the little kids in one room, like that they would be playing, and then the teenagers would be talking and socializing in their own way,
Mhm.
and then the adults were in the other room. And
Yep.
then I remember like dancing was like a big thing. Like it was imposed. Like it wasn't like, oh, tú no vas a aprender a bailar. Like tú no me vas a hacer
Tú.
pasar vergüenza. You're not gonna let me be embarrassed by you not dancing. Like, and then that's another thing. They used to be like, oh, he dances like they never danced him when he was little. Like that was like a thing. Like they would
Oh,
like
yes,
jump
yes,
the
yes.
like carry the
No
baby,
lo
but like
bailaron.
have them
Yeah.
dance. Yeah, no le bailaron
Yeah,
cuando
yeah,
chiquito.
yeah.
Like they would have
Sí.
him dance in your lap and stuff. So it was like, a lot of that stuff. It was kind of like at one point I was like, ugh. Like very begrudgingly I would do it, but then I feel like
Mm.
as an adult, I appreciated it more because like I'm able to, because I do love dancing, like I enjoy it very
Yeah.
much, but like I'm able to navigate certain social situations with much more ease than those families that I found. Because that's another thing. I thought everybody was like us.
Oh.
I thought all Dominican families were like us, like everybody all up in each other's business, everybody getting
Yeah,
together all the time.
yeah,
And then I
yeah.
met other
But it's
families
not,
that were
right?
not, that they're like more like gringo, like
Mm-hmm.
they're to themselves. They don't really get together, like maybe once a year, whatever. So, like, as an adult, I came to appreciate it more. But I definitely feel like how you feel. Like, a lot of things that were normalized for us as children, I feel like is unacceptable for me, for my child right now. And I feel like I don't want to, not necessarily participate in that, but I don't want to promote that kind of environment around my
Yeah,
kid,
yeah, I
you know?
agree. And it's funny that even at a young age, you were just like, it kind of like you thought about it as opposed to like a kid who'll just go along with it. You were just like, oh, so that was interesting to see, like your perspective as a young kid.
Mm-hmm. And then like my parents were always like, yeah, they would have a drink, you know like with their friends and stuff, but nobody se pasaba, like nobody would go over and like be um
Irresponsible or come on.
irresponsibly drinking or whatever in front of the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah.
But there was always that one uncle that got very handsy,
Oh,
you
of
know what I'm
course,
saying?
of
and
course.
then and then so that then you would see the dichotomy of that, like your parents are being responsible, but then the other people that are
Mhm,
there are not
mhm.
necessarily doing that. So it was just interesting in a way, like to kind of like reflect on that and look at it as an adult, like and like what are some things that you're okay with for your daughter? Like I know you're okay with like I guess the family parties and stuff like that.
I'm okay. Well, because it's part of it. I'm okay with the family parties, but I'm one like I don't like to linger for a long time, especially like if it's a certain time and my daughter has to be in bed. Like I'm strict with that. I'm not like hanging out with my daughter at 11 o'clock at night. Like some people, like at midnight, you're like with your kid in the street. I'm not one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, like, if I see that there's people drinking and not acting accordingly, I would be one of those people to leave. And I'll be one of those people who'll step away if she's seeing that happen. You know what I mean? Um, but s- but like around my family, they're happy people when they drink. Like my father was an alcoholic, and I remember he drank a lot, but he wasn't an angry alcoholic. He was
Yeah.
a functioning alcoholic where he still went to work, and he took care of the family. So to me, I saw that like, oh, okay, he's drinking, but he's not screaming at me. He's not hitting my mom. Like he wasn't violent, but he still drank, and it did bother me as a kid. So like, I didn't want that. I didn't want that for my daughter. I didn't want her to be around that because I know how I felt for me, and I know what it feels for me. So yeah, in that situation, I would just take her away.
I feel like when we're younger, because those behaviors are normalized, and we didn't have that voice, we didn't have the autonomy to be like, no, this is not okay. A lot of
Yeah.
those things we wouldn't say anything about it, even if
Yep.
they were bothering us. I know I have a family member that at one point he was having issues with drinking, and something happened. Oh, okay, I remember now. So his car burned down. um it was a holiday too. It was like right in front, and they lived in the suburbs, so the car burned down right in front of the house. And instead of like dealing with the situation, like, the firemen came, everything got put out, nobody was in danger, thank God. But he started drinking, and he got to the point, and then I remember this vividly because I was like 8 or 9. He was
Yeah.
like drinking heavily, and like screaming and crying, and like he had all these vinyls, he like so many vinyls, and he started just
Yeah.
smashing the vinyls,
Oh, wow.
breaking them. And it was like so
Yeah.
shocking for me because I wasn't used to that kind of environment. And my dad and my mom,
Yeah.
like, I
What
wasn't
did
in the
they do?
best environment. No, but
Yeah.
my mom and my dad were kind of just like, oh, kids, go to the room. But we could still hear
Okay.
everything that was happening,
Of course.
But, it was just kind of like so shocking for me. And like, yeah, my dad and my mom we would go to all these events, but my mom was like very, even to this day, she's a person that is very like recogida, recatada. Like she's very like by the book, and yeah, we can have
Okay.
fun, but we have to have fun with control, you know.
Got it. Got it.
But
Got
that
it.
was like
Yep. Yep.
so
Yep.
shocking for me. I was just like, what the hell is this? Like when I was a kid, I was like, I never want to get like that when I'm an adult.
Look at that. You
Because
see?
it's just so shocking. And then for me, it's like, yeah, like it like. And another thing, do you remember the little baby sleeping on top of all the coats in the room where all the coats were?
Yes.
There was always a little kid
I
laying
think I
down on
was
the
one.
coats.
I remember for my brother's first birthday, I was scared of like my neighbor's husband. And to this
Oh,
day, I don't know why I was terrified. Every time I saw that man, I was terrified of him.
oh my God.
Like terrified. And
¿Pero qué
so I
será?
remember I was in the hallway because we had a long hallway, and the door opened. I saw him walk in, and I was just like, Mommy, yo tengo
El
sueño. I
cuco.
remember I told my mom, yo tengo sueño, me voy a acotar. And I was having fun. I literally went to my mom's room that was full of like the sofas. You know how they put all the things in to
Yeah, yeah,
empty
they
out the
move all the
living room to
furniture.
to move all the furniture. I think I slept on coats on top of sofa. I don't know where, but I was one of those kids.
Oh my God. No, because then okay, so they
Yeah.
wouldn't
See,
party that late. They
that's what
wouldn't
I'm
party
like. I
that
don't want my
late
daughter
all
to be
the
sleeping on a
time. You
coat.
know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't party that late all the time. But for New Year's Eve, ellos se pasaban. Like
Oh,
it'd
claro.
be like 2 o'clock in the morning. You're like
Yeah.
sleeping or whatever, and then that was the thing. Like for me, like they would wake you up, like you're like taking a nap, and I'd just be so angry. I'd be like, "You guys with your party, so mad."
You guys with your party. I'm freaking tired. I want to go to bed.
No, but I feel like it influenced, at least for me and you, it influenced us in a positive way, right? Like in our
I
parenting,
feel
the way
like
that we
yeah.
parent now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like it did. Like I didn't and I'm not judging whoever. I just feel like for me, yeah, it just taught me like, okay, this is what I want to do and this is what I don't want to do. That's it. And that's what I feel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look back and I'm like, damn, I wasn't thinking about. At the same time, like with all the imposed things that happen when I was young, I realized now that I was older, like I never thought about those things. Like, oh, but wait, what they're doing is, I don't think it's cool. Like, I never questioned it. I went along with it because for me, that
Because we
was
saw
like, okay,
everybody
that's
else
how
doing it.
yeah. So as I got older, now as I'm older, I'm like, damn, why didn't I question this? Why didn't I question that? But I'm like, I just didn't know any better. That's it.
We didn't know any better, and we weren't giving the leeway like, oh hey, you can tell us this is fucked up
Yes,
or whatever. Because the
exactly.
first thing they'd be like,
Exactly.
¿Tú te crees que tú eres gente? You think you're a grown man, woman? Especially me, I always get in trouble because of
No
my
venga a
mouth. They're
comer.
like, you salty, comiendo boca
Oh, ¿cómo?
con lo
Oh my God,
adulto.
I was just about to say that. No venga aquí a comer boca.
No, and then for me, it changed a lot because like with Aiden having autism, like there's a lot of things that he didn't tolerate as a kid, and
That's right.
I can't just do what our parents used to do, just be like, vete por allá con los muchacho, and like leave him unsupervised the whole time because there's something's gonna go down. Like not anymore, thank God. But when he was younger, I wouldn't be able to enjoy the party because I would have to be in the room with all the children because everybody would leave their kids unsupervised. But because I was in
Yes.
there and I'm an adult, now I'm taking care of everybody's badass kids plus mine. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
my gosh.
So, I'm the one like laying down the law, and then they're like, oh, Marcy's no fun,
Marcy
blah, blah,
said
blah. But like, I'm paying attention to your badass kids that you're not really supervising and they
exactly.
can get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, like, at least now, even though he is able to function independently and be
Yeah.
with the other kids without me having to worry, like, somebody's going to trigger him and he's going to, like, try to. Because the thing with him is that he's triggered by, like, noises, even
Noise.
though he's, like,
Okay.
a noisy kid. He doesn't stop talking. But,
He's noisy, but he doesn't like noise. Does he
exactly.
have to
Like,
wear noise cancellation?
he
No.
doesn't tolerate the sensation of the headphones on his ear.
Oh,
So I tried
okay.
these and I tried the Beats, and he doesn't
Yeah.
like any of them. But like,
Okay.
I have to take that all into account, and then now
Yeah.
that he's able to be alone, I still go in and check on him. I don't just like let him just rock, by himself with his cousins, because I don't know what they're up
You
to.
just don't.
Plus,
Yeah.
I don't trust that. I mean, now he's actually gotten to the point that even though it is loud and they're playing a lot of music and it's live or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and my uncle, my aunt, my compadre, my aunt's husband, he puts
Mm-hmm.
like these disco lights in the living room.
Hey,
He
whatever works,
puts the
man.
he puts the disco lights in the living room, and Aiden, you see him there, he'll cover his ear with one hand. He'll do the hand helmet like that, and
Oh,
he'll be there with his phone and the iPad, and he'll just be hanging out with us, even though it's
oh, you
loud.
see, he makes it work
But
for.
he's
That's
used to that
great.
kind of environment now. Like,
That's
but this is
awesome.
this is years coming, because back in the day that
Oh,
was not the case. There was a lot of times I would have to leave the party early
how long
because
did you
of
have to
that.
do that to train him? How long was that process?
Because my family has been like this forever. So,
Of course. So that
girl,
would like
I want to say that he's able to like hang out with us during the party. I want to say he started doing that when he was like 8 or 9
okay.
almost.
He's what, 15 now?
He's 13.
Oh, he's 13. Okay. Also,
Mm-hmm.
that's good.
And then
Wow.
sometimes he wants to hang out with the kids, but like they don't like. He's very much like he'll parallel play, so he'll be next to you if you're playing and you're a kid also, but he won't really
Yeah.
interact. And then
Got
sometimes the
it.
kids are too
Got it.
loud, and then
Got it.
like
Got it. Got
especially
it.
those badass kids that are like just
Oh,
bugging out.
I don't blame him. I'll be out too.
He's like, no. He's like, I
Good.
am good, mother. Thanks, though.
Good.
But I do try to teach him how to dance and stuff, even though he's not like, like fully social yet. But
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like, like
Yeah.
I want to teach him that those behaviors, even though if
And
it
there's nothing
seems
wrong with that.
forceful,
Yeah.
it seems forceful. But I want him, I don't want him to be one of those kids that like, oh, no te bailaron cuando chiquito,
But that doesn't matter. Does he like it though? When you be like, "Oh, let's try to dance." Does he like dancing?
Yeah, he's okay. Like I'm like, baby, come, let's
Okay,
dance with
he's
mommy.
not
He's
like,
like,
"Oh, nah,
okay,
ma, I don't
mom.
want to do it." Oh, okay.
No, if he
Ah,
doesn't
so he's
want to, I
into
don't
it.
force him to do anything. If
Good.
like that's another thing. Like if he doesn't want to hug or kiss people, I don't force him to
Yeah,
do that.
that's one of the ones I want to mention. There was one
Mm-hmm.
like say hi, say like
A todo el
don't have an
mundazo.
attitude, say hi. Oh, dale un beso. Like that's one thing that I'm like, if my daughter does not want to say hi to somebody, there's a reason. And then spiritually speaking, they see more because they're
Yeah.
so open. You don't know what the hell that person's carrying. She's actually telling me to stay
Mm-hmm.
away. So why am I gonna force her?
He's
So
pretty
yeah.
cool with everybody, and that's Aiden. Like, and then I've spoken about this before on the show. Like, Aiden's very much like he'll read energy. Like, if he knows that you're a person that he doesn't want nothing to do with you, he's gonna let me know, and he's just gonna kind of be whatever. Like with
Good.
his dad's family, we go over
He,
there. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna like not visit them because
of course,
that's
that's
messed up, you know. Because it's the
yeah.
majority of his dad's family lives in Dominican Republic. But
Oh, okay.
when we go, he visits my family, no problem. Like he'll go there, and his thing is he'll take off his shoes. If he takes off his shoes, he's very comfortable with you.
Got yeah.
So se
That
quita
says a
los
lot.
zapatos, he'll chill in a corner, he'll be with his iPad
Mm,
or his iPhone after he looks around, and then he'll be whatever, doing his thing. When he gets to these people's houses, he does not take off his shoes. He sits in a corner right
mm,
next to me, and the whole time
mm,
he's sitting there, he's like, "Can we go to mommy's house? Can we go to mommy's house? Can
that
we go
says a
to Titi's
lot.
house? Can we go to Titi's house?"
Mm.
And when I know that he reacts like that, that's a cue to me. Like, okay, I'm not
Yep.
gonna overextend the welcome. Like right
Nice.
now he's good, but I don't want him to go into like full meltdown mode or something to happen that's gonna
Yeah,
put
yeah.
him in a bad mood, you know. So like I really listen to his
Definitely.
social cues, especially when he doesn't want to say hi to somebody. I'm not gonna force it. Like I'll like
No.
I'll say hi for him. I'll be like, "Hey, didn't say hi," and he'll like repeat what I
Yeah.
said. But if he doesn't want to go and like give somebody a hug, I don't want
A
to do
hug.
that. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's what I
don't touch my kid.
appreciate about. I feel like I'm sort of like I always tell people. I always tell when I'm like I know I'm somewhere in the spectrum or something. But I always but we like I've learned like we all have autism in us, whether
Hmm.
they say it or not. We all do. But what I love more about like if when they're labeled, because I don't like to label children like your son,
Hmm.
that they're so honest, and I
Hmm.
admire that so much because they just tell you like it is. No, that's it. And I admire that so much. They teach us so much.
There
So
was this
just wanted to
TikTok of
share
this
that.
little boy. There was this TikTok of this boy. He was giving a eulogy. Somebody passed
Hmm.
away, and he dead said that the guy was a thief at the eulogy. He's like, he used to like to steal.
But it's the truth.
But the thing is, like, I
It's
love
the
how to
I don't
part
care
our
if you
kids
died.
because
It's the truth.
they don't have no
No
pelos de la lengua.
filter.
They have no filter. They're just like, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you what it is. If you don't like it,
Yep.
oh well, oh well. He's just, I don't know, like it's just the thing is with him, like I do teach him a lot about the culture, and that was one of the points that I wanted to make is like
Okay.
I teach him a lot about the socialization in our culture,
Hmm.
especially when we're in DR because we do travel often and we're there a lot.
Oh, that's great.
But it's just so that he won't feel alienated and he won't feel like left out. So I
Okay.
teach him, but then if he decides to participate, that's on him. I
Exactly.
don't force him to participate, but I do still teach him like all the little things that we learned when we were kids.
That's awesome. I love that.
I mean, not the
And I love that because
bendición thing. That's another thing that I didn't keep. I wasn't gonna have him besiéndole la mano a todo el mundo. Remember?
I used to do that, but then like
Everybody and
I
their
kind of
mama.
as yeah, I'm like I do it to my mom and my like I've stayed with certain people that I like care about and who mean something to me. I will do it because that's how I grew up, but I haven't taught that to my daughter. This is just I'm just like I don't feel like the need that she has to
Oh
do
wait, but
that.
let me explain to the comadres that aren't
Oh,
part of the
that's right.
Latino culture. So like we have this tradition when we were kids that we had to like ask for the
Blessing,
blessing, ask
right?
ask people for blessings, especially elders. So they would make us ask for blessings to like every witch elder. Like it would be people that are not even part of the family to be like Sion tío, like you would call them uncle or
Yeah.
auntie, right? But then you would have to ask them for their blessing, which is, I don't know, it's just a little problematic. And then the thing is, like, especially with like the stuff that has come out, like with respect to like people molesting children, I don't want to
Yes.
put my kid in that situation where they feel like this person is their quote unquote uncle and they're exposing themselves to a predator. Obviously, I'm not friends with predators,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I that was one of the traditions that I definitely did not pass down, and I don't feel bad about it because I feel like it was something very outdated. Because I remember,
Yeah. And
I
then like,
my
why are we
go
saying
ahead.
that? Why are we
Yeah,
saying that? Like, and at first I thought it was something like, you know how you say usted or tú, like
yeah, yeah.
it's a way of respect.
Of
So
showing
I
respect.
thought that saying bendición, whatever, tía, sion, whatever, was a way of respect. That's what I thought it was. Then as I got older, I'm like, I'm just not gonna say it to everybody
Yeah,
because I'm just gonna. I guess my mom
especially the
because
people
that's
that are
respect,
shady.
but I'm not gonna say it to even if it's an uncle of mine, but I'm not close to them. I'm not gonna say it.
Especially the people that are shady. Like
Why?
there's some people in my family that they don't deserve for you to be asking them for no blessing. You're good. You
Exactly.
can keep your blessings to yourself.
Word.
Um, my grandma. Because this is another thing. I always bother my. I don't know if you do the same thing, but I bother my grandma. I ask her about all these like stories from when she was growing up.
Oh, that's. I wish I had. I
I
don't
want to
have my
start writing
grandparents
them
with me.
down.
You
I want to start writing them
should.
down. She's the
Oh,
only
that's
one that's
awesome.
left right now. But she
Oh,
told me a story that that was like the tradition. She's from a campo. So okay, so we're from La
La
Vega,
Vega, you
right?
say? Okay.
Grandma moved to a campo in La Vega. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a campo, it's like a town, right?
Okay.
But we're from like the country,
Country.
like up in the hills, like
Oh, I've been up
back in
there.
the 90s. Yeah, back in the 90s, you used
Got
to have
it.
to like park your car and go by foot to go to my great
Mm.
grandpa and my great grandma's house, right? So over
Wow.
there in that campo, that's like part of Cotuí, which is another province that's close
Okay.
to La Vega.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's called Comedero Arriba. So when we used to go to
Okay.
Comedero Arriba, we would always like, there was nothing to do because there was like no electricity. So we would just
Yeah.
talk and like have conversations and tell stories. So grandma told me the story of her when she was a kid. Like that was the norm. Like you had to ask all these elders for blessings, even if it was somebody that you don't know. So
Mm.
grandma era bellaca, she was like not easy. She was like what do you like, kind of like Dennis the Menace. Like based on the story
Got.
she told me, she would get in trouble, but it was for a reason. It wasn't for no reason. So grandma, instead of asking for the benediction or the blessing, right? She
Yeah.
said
What she mean?
avisión, which means
What does
like
it
a
mean?
vision. So a vision, like if you're telling
A
somebody have
visión.
a vision,
Oh,
it's
like
like
una visión.
something bad, right? Right, so
What?
she said avision to this old man, and supposedly, according to grandma, the old man had like these like all go. Then this is another like a tall tale from the campo. Like
Oh, yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah.
saw a
They have
man with
so many.
all gold teeth, because that was the devil. So the man smiled at her, and all his teeth
And
were
he had.
gold, all gold teeth like that. He like stuck out his tongue at her, and then she like started running down the
Oh
hill.
no.
And she said that she ran so much that by the time she got home, she had a fever.
She had a what?
A fever. But like, but it was like, it's like all these stories. I'm like, why? Like, why do you have to? Like,
What?
what was the purpose?
They
I don't
have
get it.
so many like weird and creepy stories that I can't sleep at night. But
Oh
you
my
should
god, when they
definitely
would
write them
start.
down.
But okay, so that's one tradition I do want to have is like sitting down with your cousins and like telling all these tall tales of like the ghost stories. I feel like that was something that we used to do, especially when we would visit. That we
Yeah.
used to do that. Like I feel like it's something that we don't do here, but it was something that
Yeah,
like to
that's
pass the
true.
time. Like there was no electricity, there was nothing else to do.
No
We would
internet,
play
no phone.
exactly. We would
That's
play
beautiful. You see, I
we
love
would
that.
play card games, right? We would play El
Yeah, yeah,
Cagao and
yeah.
like I think
Yeah.
what was the other game? Casino. We used to
Cacao.
play
Oh,
Casino and
casino.
Cagao.
Y traído.
Treido, all these
Traído.
card games, right? We would spend time doing that, playing dominoes, and then we would be telling.
I love
Well, at
dominoes.
night, once it got really dark, we wouldn't be able to play because you can't see.
Of
But
course.
we would be telling ghost stories in the nighttime. But like I feel like that's
Oh my
something that I
gosh.
do want to pass down. Like so like
That's
spending time with
definitely.
cousins. Like
Yeah.
even though if you don't, because Aiden's the only child right now, so like spending time with cousins and like
Cousins or even,
socializing and things like
yeah,
that.
social lines, telling stories, playing, not necessarily just being on your phone and not connecting. I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
something we had in our childhood. Like we had a lot of connections and imagination play. We played out. I remember playing outside and this and that and the community. Like even in New York, even in New York where I lived, like we were on the block. Of course, my neighborhood was West Harlem. It wasn't the greatest, but we knew each other. So it reminded me of La Campo. It's like a community. That person knows that person. Oh, mira, yo vi tu hija. Yeah, like you have people watching over you,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of you. If somebody comes in to the neighborhood that they don't know, oh, wait, who's this? You're being looked out for. And I feel like that we don't have that as much now. And that's
Yeah.
something that I feel like I if I can, I want my daughter to have, but it's so hard nowadays, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's you have to get to know your neighbors. That's another thing. Like a lot of people don't try to get to know each other. That's one thing from the
Some
suburbs. Like my
neighbors
mom
are
moved.
like sketchy.
Yeah, my
So
mom moved to my mom moved to the suburbs after I was already in college and the little one was
okay.
gonna start high school. And that was the
Okay.
one thing that I found weird because, like, in the city, we don't, like, besides, like, Dominicans, like, here in the Heights, people don't really talk to you like that. And that first week, we had, like, visits from neighbors, and I was like, why are these
Really? Bringing you
people
like
coming to
pie, like,
visit
welcome
us?
to the neighborhood.
Well, I mean, not pie, but cookies and stuff
I'm
like that.
kidding. I'm
But,
kidding.
like, saying
Yeah.
welcome,
I know.
but no, but it was
Yeah.
nice, like,
Oh,
that
wow, they did
community
that.
aspect. Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Which is interesting. But I feel
that
like it
is
all
interesting.
depends where you are and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because the building I
So
lived in, like, we all knew each other.
yeah,
Like, everybody
that's
knew each
one
other.
thing.
Yeah.
But and then that was good and bad because like, yo vi a
Yeah.
fulanita.
Of course. Of course. As a teenager, I hated it. Mira, yo vi tu hija ahí. El bochinche starts.
But that it taught me how to be very very sneaky.
Of course. Of course.
I'd be like, so
So,
my my neighbor's gonna be passing by at this time. Yo, I had everybody clocked.
yep. We're going to the
I was done.
library. My friend and our thing was we're going to the library.
Mom would be like,
That was our
oh,
excuse. We're going to
llévate el
the
hermano
library.
tuyo. She's like, oh, take your brother with you.
That was our sneaky way.
It's so funny.
God.
So I had another question for you.
Okay.
So we talked about it influenced you in both a positive way, like being socialized the way that we were. So I had a question, which was, did you feel that it helped you assimilate more to the culture or feel more part of something bigger than you? Like, does it help you, like the way that you were raised, does it help you feel like part of something bigger? Like when you see a Dominican from somewhere else, like you guys have, if they're like similar to your background, but like similar upbringing, it helps you kind of connect more with that person. Do you feel like,
I I feel like, yeah, in a way it does. I feel like the way I was raised, I feel like also with a Dominican who's similar with similar interests, but also in general, like being open to other people and other cultures. Because of the community my parents instilled in me, like being welcoming to others, giving food to those who need it. They were very humble in giving to others and willing to help. I feel like that upbringing helped to me as a person with anybody else, even if it wasn't from
mm-hmm,
my culture. Like wanting to learn about the other culture, embracing no matter who I met, and being open to that and not judging them. I feel like
yeah,
that did, of course, help me. with socializing too with other people that I didn't know. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, it definitely helped me. And of course, like in DR though, I did find like I have a cousin that he was very like, the how some Dominicans are like pro, how they feel about your skin color, like,
Uh huh.
the differences in skin color, like if you too dark or if you too light. I know people like that, and
Like
that's when it
biases.
bothered me. Biases, the bias, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's when it bothered me. That's when I experienced like, wait, hold on, you're not better than me, or or the being judgmental towards someone from New York, like, oh, tú vienes de New York, you're rich. They think that you're rich, that you got all this
Yeah.
money. That was one thing too, coming from New York. Oh, like, you rich, you got all this money. I'm like, I'm struggling too, boo. I had to say
Mm-hmm.
to come here, like letting them know that, what you think is happening is not really happening, because they think that you're rich and you're not struggling, you're not working, but you're hustling. And there was that like there was those differences as well.
I feel like growing up here, but and then traveling back. The thing is, I used to go back often. Not so much before my father passed, but after dad passed, we used to go every summer because he passed around the
Okay.
summertime, and we would spend
Yeah.
3 to 4 months there. So, like, I feel like I used to try harder to be extra Dominican because it's like
Mm.
con todo y todo, like, yes, I was an extra, like a not a
Como
stranger,
la
but
New York, no, no, New
a New
York, ¿cómo que se
like a
llama?
New
Dominican
Yorker,
York.
right? Like
Dominican,
Dominican York,
no,
right?
tú
I
no eres
didn't wanna
dominicana, tú eres Dominican
exactly.
York.
So I felt like I didn't want to stand out, and not in that way. So I used to try real hard to be extra Dominican and learn like all the socialization because I didn't want to feel like I didn't belong.
Exactly.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
stick
Yeah.
out like a sore thumb. I didn't want to be excluded because I didn't know how to um manage myself or conduct myself in those different types of environments.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was positive in a lot of ways, but then it also like negative in a way because I didn't want to like if you don't assimilate to the culture, it's so easy for them to like kind of shun you and like
Showing you,
take
that's
you
right. And
out of
then
the
you're not
Dominican.
being yourself, because then you're trying to be
Hmm.
something that you're not. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I want to assimilate to you, but wait, I am both worlds. So what's the problem with that? You know what I mean? So yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's so true. I forgot about that
Yeah,
little part.
I mean our kids are so lucky. So, but tell me about your daughter. Tell me about Choo Choo. Who is she?
Oh,
What makes
she's a
her sparkle?
so Choo Choo is she's a cup of little things. She's sneaky, sneaky,
Wait,
stubborn.
how old
I'm
is
gonna
she
give you
now?
the. I'm giving. She's 3. I'm gonna give you the
Oh,
real deal. She's
yes.
sneaky, stubborn, but definitely a leader. She's a leader. She's very independent. She's very creative. She loves music, dancing. I know she's gonna pick that up from both sides: music, dancing, art. She's funny, like her dad. Me too. I'm funny too, but he has the comedic side more. I'm more quirky. Uh, she's a joy. She's a joy and also a pain in the ass sometimes.
And that's real.
Like
Let
all
me tell you
kids.
something. I
But yeah,
I, one of the guests that I had on, like she's like, let's normalize not liking our kids sometimes and saying that they're jerks when they're being
word.
jerks.
Hello. When she wants to talk back or trying to be sneaky, oh hell no.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
No,
bitch,
you have
I
to
don't think
control
so.
yourself. You're like, first of all, I'm the
Bitch.
mom.
No, I remember she was like a month. She was like maybe 1. And she gave me this look, like, in other words, like, you're not gonna do like that type of look. Like, I didn't
Wow.
see the 1 year old. I saw the 13-year old.
Oh my
Like,
god.
literally, my brain went to, this is you at 13. Bitch, don't even think about it. Like, that's what I was saying. I was like, bitch. I didn't call her bitch, but I was very stern
You
with her.
thought it. You're like,
But in my head, I was like, bitch, who you think you're talking to? But that's what I saw, like the 13-year-old. I didn't see the 1-year-old.
no, because they have their
You
little.
ha-
They come out
you
with
have
these
to
little
see them.
personalities. Like you
Yeah, you
think
have
that
to
this
see
like,
them.
oh,
Yeah.
no.
You have to see them for, and then that's something sometimes I struggle at times, that I'm like, oh wait, she wasn't doing that, and then when we'll be like, no, she was doing that, because of course I'm her mother. I'm the one who wanted the child, so I'm gonna go more with the emotional aspect. But
Hmm.
that's something that I be like, oh wait, then I have to stop myself. Okay, am I being emotional, or am I seeing her for who she is? So I have to stop myself, and I'm learning that even more. Like, to see her, you have to see your child for who they are. That's what my spiritual teacher taught us. Like, see them for who they are, because otherwise they will get over, and then you're not helping them as a teacher for them. You know what I mean? You don't want them
Yeah,
to get over. You want them to learn and grow.
of course.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
But what kind of stuff is she into right now?
Right now, she's into like her iPad limited, of course. She loves Alma's Way, that show
Okay.
on PBS. Curious George. She loves shows that like have singing and dancing, but teaching them the numbers and ABCs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And of course, she loves to dance. She loves to sing. She loves to paint and color and do things creative. She loves water. She loves playing with water,
Oh,
riding
the
her
water play's
bike.
so
She loves
fun.
the Oh my gosh, she loves it. Playing in the or going out. I take her to bike rides. I work from home, so during my lunch break, if I mean, it's like 1:15 here, but if it's not too hot, I'll say, "Oh, come on, let's go." I go for a walk, and she rides her bike, and then I come back, give her something to eat, and then
That's
go back to
dope.
work.
That's
Yeah, like I
awesome.
was, it's like, let me do that. But yeah, that's what she likes to do most of the time. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, definitely. So what advice would you have for a parent that comes from such a rich culture like ours and is like maybe struggling a little bit to figure out what to integrate in the socialization of their children and like what to kind of leave out? Like
Okay,
what would you advise?
I would advise to a new parent. I would say, first of all, be true to yourself. What is it that is can you deal with, and what can you not, and what would fit into something that's going to help your child learn and grow, and not try to be something that they're not, or you're not. Be honest with yourself. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions, and be honest with yourself. And as far as like our culture, I feel like it's so beautiful and amazing in the sense of bringing people together, the music, the laughter and joy that it brings. To have music, to have people come together and dance and have fun, I think that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
um, the camaraderie and being open to giving to others, and embracing other people, I think that's beautiful. And as far as like in my case, like the drinking and stuff like that, I feel like keep it to a minimum and don't have it around your child. And if you don't want your child around that, then don't have it in your house. That's what I would say. And of course, have boundaries. Choose what your boundaries are, and be consistent with it. Consistency is key, of course, with your
Yeah.
children. Discipline and consistency.
Yes. I would say that we have the like as this generation now, we have the power to pick and choose the things that we decide to integrate and create a new
Hmm.
culture from there. So, being very conscientious of what you pick and choose and how you integrate it into your life, and definitely setting boundaries because I feel like we had no boundaries. Like it
We
was
had
just
no
kind of like
and
this is what it
communication.
is. This is what it is, and this is what we're gonna follow. And you don't have any say. And
Exactly.
what are
Yes.
people gonna think? What are people gonna say? Like we have the power of setting and enforcing those boundaries, and then picking and choosing those things that we do want to integrate into our lives, and that would enrich our children's culture in that way.
Especially, and also with that, like communication. Communicate with your children. Be have that relationship where you can share, like allow them to have a space to communicate with you too, because that's how I grew up, with the lack of communication. It wasn't
Yeah.
communicated when there was problems, or even in like guidance and dating, or like, oh, whatever you want to do when you grow up. I think that's very
Mm-hmm.
important for your child, letting them know that they're special, that they're important. letting them know that you're there to guide them, but they're also in life. You have to work at what you have to do. Nothing's given to you. That's very important too,
Yes,
you know? Um, and yeah, because they show us love, but also let's communicate and not be afraid, especially with mental health and all that. That's what's going on. Don't be afraid to
definitely.
talk and share.
I love that. Thank you. So,
Thank you.
comadres, with that, we're gonna wrap up the show. So I'm gonna end the show how I always end it, which is follow me at Comadreando Pod on IG, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. And follow Cloud at
Alexa Cloud 13.
on Instagram.
Yes, on
And of course, if you
Instagram.
have any questions for either one of us at all, please feel free to send me a Comadre-Gram via email at comadreando@escthenetwork.com or slide up into my DMs. Um,
DMs.
and I want to thank you all for spending time with your comadres. Alexa, thank you so much for being on the show and bringing your
Oh,
perspective.
man. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. It was such an honor and pleasure to be here to meet you, finally to have that chat. And I just want to say I love your podcast. I love the platform that you're sharing and all the things that you're sharing for everyone, the mothers, the men, the children. I just want to commend you for everything that you're doing. I think you're amazing. Continue to kick ass. And I wish you all the blessings for you and your son.
Amen. Thank you so much. Give Chuchu a hug from me. Say hi
I
to Rick.
will. I will. I will. Thank you again. I really
Take
thank you.
care.
All right. You too. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Hello, comadre.
Hey, comadre.
Do you have a minute for comadre time?